Now, after that nudge from Fox News, Trump says maybe he misled everyone about the tapes to shape Comey's testimony.
When he found out that that there may be tapes out there, whether it's governmental tapes or anything else, and who knows, I think his story may have changed. I mean, you'll have to take a look at that, because then he has to tell what actually took place at the events. And my story didn't change. My story was always a straight story. My story was always the truth. But you'll have to determine for yourself whether or not his story changed.
But as you go through the record that I just did there, it would seem this did lead to some things, and they might be good for the investigation.
Well, what he's done is he's just continued his obstruction of justice. I mean, what he has done with that tape and basically threatening Comey as a witness amounted to nothing less than witness tampering. The statute that's involved is Section 1512 of the United States Code, and I'll just read from it because it's spot on. Whoever knowingly engages in misleading conduct, which we clearly have here, he misled everybody for 6 weeks about these tapes, toward another person with intent to influence the testimony of any person in an official proceeding commits a crime. I mean, it couldn't be any clearer. This is just part of his entire obstruction of justice that he has been constantly perpetrating since the time he asked Comey to forget about the Flynn investigation. When Comey didn't drop the Flynn investigation, he then fired Comey. And on top of it, he also, in between those two events, he asked Dan Coates and Admiral Rogers to try and put an end to the investigation. So you've got now 5 acts of obstruction of justice. You've got the President of the United States admitting that he got rid of Comey because of the Russian investigation. You've got him admitting to the Russian ambassador that he fired Comey because he didn't want the Russian investigation on his back. And now you've got him admitting to Fox News in kind of a most convoluted way that he was trying to manipulate Comey's testimony. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what more do you need to convict this man of obstruction of justice? But this is really history repeating itself. This is exactly the tack that the Nixon administration took against Archibald Cox before Nixon fired him. It was the complaint about Archibald Cox, who was the Solicitor General for President Kennedy. There was the complaint that there were people being hired in the prosecutor's office who were registered Democrats. By the way, there were also registered Republicans who were part of that office. But it was the exact same tack that was taken back in 1973. This is just history repeating itself.